spinach is very similar to kale in how you grow it, meaning that you plant it around the same time. Typically, we do all of our spinach from seed. So again, we'll start it in October, November, in the fall, and then they'll overwinter and then come alive in the spring. But what we also do is plant a new round of spinach in the spring. The reason for that is, excuse me, the spinach that went through the winter is going to be quicker to go to seed than spinach that you plant in the spring. The spinach that hasn't been through a winter yet just doesn't want to give up yet. So you'll have spinach deeper into the summer, whereas the transplanted stuff is going to bolt pretty soon. What are our favorite ways to use spinach? I mean, obviously,
spinach is used in a lot of the same ways as kale. One difference, though, that I really like to do is to chop it up and add it into scrambled eggs. I scramble eggs and I add in some spinach, and then I also do some chives in there too. So good, tastes great. I mean, you can also add it to all the same things we talked about before: soups, salads. I mean, spinach is very universal. You can add it to pastas.
And out of everything that you can grow in your garden, spinach and kale have some of the highest nutritional value for you. So you'll see at the top we've got this section here lists out the health benefits the plant has. When you tap on it, it gives you more information about it. And you can see all the different things that spinach helps with. There's a lot in there. I think we have a bug where they're repeating.
Yeah.
Oops. Okay. What else are we going to say about spinach? It's very similar to kale, like I said, with how you grow it. It doesn't have the same pests. The cabbage moths aren't going to attack it, but you will have aphid issues with spinach. So with aphids, they're really easy just to spray off. That's the easiest way to handle them, to spray them off, and they're weak climbers, so they're not going to come back up. But the problem with aphids is that they're born pregnant. So if you forget one of them, then you've got a problem in like 2 or 3 days. They're all back. So, typically what we'll do with aphids is we'll just spray them off. But really, we're looking for ladybugs to come handle the problem for us, because ladybugs eat. That's their primary diet, is aphids. So by now, our garden has become a sanctuary for ladybugs. We've got them everywhere. But the first year, we ordered them on Amazon. You can get like 2,000 on Amazon. And then you can keep them in your fridge and release them sporadically over a week or two instead of releasing all at once. And there's some other keys to releasing them too.
Yeah, if you release them at night, they usually stay in your garden more because they don't want to leave at nighttime. And
they only fly during the day.
And then they find their feast, and th're like, oh, I'm happy here, I'm going to stay.
Yeah, and if you leave water there for them, they have a happy habitat, because they're waking from, they've been asleep for a while, right? So they're ready basically just to eat, mate, and die, and then their babies they're gonna be the main ones they're gonna eat. So the babies, when they're born, look pretty wicked. I'll pull up a picture of them here, because the first time I saw one, I was like, what is this thing? It's right here.
Yeah.
So if you see one of those things, I know.
I know, yeah. It looks bad, right?
Yeah, but these things eat, like, I don't remember the numbers, but it's like thousands of aphids in their lifetime.
Yes.
So that's the key, is getting these things going.
Great.
And that's why sometimes if I see aphids, I won't spray them off, because I want the ladybugs to show up, and they need some food. If you get rid of all the aphids, then the ladybugs will go away. So there's a balance there. Another thing I'll do too is, our first year that we had a garden, all that we had back there was food for us. We were battling a lot of pests. Then the second year, we started adding just a lot of random other plants and beneficial insect attracting plants and just things like that. So then the pests were spread out across everything and not just the food. So the aphids would be on the morning glories. Well, we just let them hang out there, then the ladybugs would show up. And so it gave us more of an ecosystem for the pests to play with instead of just our plants. Because our yard before that was grass and plants. So that's one of the benefits of having a bunch of other stuff around your yard too. Okay, so what else do we say about spinach? Are there any questions about spinach? I want to talk briefly about how we plant spinach, because we do plant it different than a lot of the other things we grow. So, things like tomatoes and peppers, they take up a lot of space, and you have to really be particular about where you put them and account for how big they're going to get. With spinach, we don't care. We're throwing seeds everywhere. And anywhere it comes up, it likes growing in the shade. So it's a really good undercover plant or understory plant that we have sprinkled all around the garden. They're 9 per square, so that's 2 or 3 inches apart. So we have spinach growing everywhere, and we have a lot of different varieties of it too. They have some varieties that grow really big leaves that you can use as a tortilla replacement in a wrap or something like that. And they have other varieties that are best to harvest as baby leaves because they're really tender and sweet and taste better that way. So I'm a bit of a collector of spinach. I think I've tried all of these varieties in here at this point. Every time we go to a store, I'm seeing if they have a variety I haven't tried yet. It's just...
He's not joking. He's not joking. We planted like 10 times.
Spinach grow in shade.
So spinach will not grow in full shade, but it'll grow in part shade. So it only needs 3 to 4 hours a day, really. So it's... What's that? Kale needs a little more sun, like it needs like 4 to 5, but it'll handle shade. The way I think about shade with plants like this isn't in the sense of like there's a wall and there's always shade there every day. It's more of a sense of there's a tomato plant here that's going to get big and there's going to be shade here in a month. That's a good place to put spinach because then it gets a break from the heat. So I'm always thinking about what can I plant on the west side of things so they get shade. Did I say that right? I always say it wrong. West, east. Like I know it in my head. I just can never remember which one it's called. The point. What is it? The west side. Yes. So on the west side of the house where it gets shade in the afternoon. I'm always careful to put stuff there that is like spinach or kale that by the time it hits summer it needs that shade. So some of our spinach, maybe like 30 to 40% of it is out in full sun, but the rest of it is in an area that's going to get shade come summer or in a smart pot that we can move into the shade once the temperature changes on us.